Arundhati Roy is an Indian author, best known for her novel The God of Small Things, which won the Man Booker Prize in 1997. Roy is also a prominent political activist, vocal about her criticisms of social and political injustices.
Sheikh Showkat Hussain is a Kashmiri lawyer, political activist, and former professor of law at the University of Kashmir. He is known for his advocacy for human rights in Kashmir and his criticism of Indian policies in the region.
Both Roy and Hussain are known for their strong opinions and their willingness to challenge the status quo. Their work often intersects with sensitive political issues, making them targets of scrutiny and, in this case, legal action. The Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, or UAPA, is an Indian law aimed at preventing unlawful activities and associations. Passed in 1967, the UAPA has been amended several times, expanding its scope and increasing the power it grants to the government. The UAPA allows the government to designate individuals and organizations as terrorist without following due process. It also allows for preventive detention without charge for extended periods.
Critics argue that the UAPA is often used to silence dissent and target individuals and groups critical of the government. The law's vague definition of unlawful activities and terrorist acts raises concerns about its potential for misuse. Human rights groups have criticized the UAPA for its draconian provisions and its impact on civil liberties.
Arundhati Roy and Sheikh Showkat Hussain were charged under the UAPA for their alleged involvement in anti-national activities. The charges stemmed from their participation in protests and speeches related to the Kashmir conflict.
Roy has been a vocal critic of the Indian government's policies in Kashmir, calling for a demilitarization of the region and a resolution of the conflict through dialogue. Her writings and speeches have often challenged the official narrative on Kashmir and highlighted human rights violations.
Hussain, as a Kashmiri lawyer and activist, has been at the forefront of advocating for the rights of Kashmiris. He has represented victims of human rights abuses and spoken out against the Indian state's actions in Kashmir.
The charges against Roy and Hussain were widely condemned by human rights groups and free speech advocates. Critics saw the charges as an attempt to silence dissent and suppress criticism of the government's handling of the Kashmir issue. The use of the UAPA against individuals like Arundhati Roy and Sheikh Showkat Hussain raises serious concerns about the state of human rights and freedom of expression in India. The law's broad provisions and potential for misuse create a chilling effect on dissent, discouraging individuals and organizations from speaking out against the government.
The UAPA has been criticized for its lack of safeguards against arbitrary arrests and detentions. The law allows for extended periods of detention without charge, making it difficult for individuals to access legal representation and challenge their detention.
The vague definition of unlawful activities under the UAPA gives the government wide discretion in targeting individuals and groups based on their political views or affiliations. This lack of clarity creates an environment of fear and self-censorship, undermining the principles of freedom of expression and association. The charges against Roy and Hussain are not isolated incidents, but part of a larger pattern of shrinking space for dissent in India. The UAPA has been increasingly used to target activists, journalists, academics, and students critical of the government.
The use of anti-terror laws to stifle dissent has a chilling effect on freedom of speech and expression. When individuals are afraid to express their views for fear of being labeled anti-national or terrorist, it undermines democratic values and principles.
A vibrant democracy thrives on open debate and the free exchange of ideas. When the government uses its power to silence dissenting voices, it creates an environment of fear and intimidation, eroding public trust and undermining the very foundations of a democratic society.
The cases of Arundhati Roy and Sheikh Showkat Hussain highlight the urgent need to address the misuse of the UAPA and its impact on human rights and freedom of expression in India. The law's vague provisions, draconian powers, and potential for abuse pose a serious threat to democratic values. It is crucial for the Indian government to uphold its commitment to human rights and ensure that laws are not used to stifle dissent or target individuals based on their political views. Protecting freedom of speech, expression and association is essential for a just and democratic society.